body was bowed in.
Correct.
It was unplayable on the neck because the action was really high, and the tuners wouldn't move.
Right,
So,
correct. So I mean, first, last things first. We just had some drop-in replacement tuners. These are made by a company called Kluson, and Kluson was purchased by, I believe it was WD Music Products, the actual name, and they began manufacturing these tuners again. All the old vintage guitars, almost to a man, so to speak, have Kluson or Kluson Deluxe tuners on them, so it's kind of nice. They're making these and they just drop right in, and they're actually really pretty nice tuners. They're made overseas, but they have a nice gear ratio. We did end up making one brace for the instrument. We couldn't find the old brace, so RD made a brace and glued it in. There were a bunch of loose braces on here. There were 3 braces that were loose, and there were actually ended up making 2 braces. There was a back brace that was missing as well. So we made 2 braces and glued them into place, which is a little more difficult than actually gluing braces that are already in place. As you can imagine, just being able to work inside of the guitar is difficult. We haven't trained spider monkeys how to get inside the guitars yet. We're still working on that. And also, the neck was steamed off of the guitar. We did actually do a full neck reset on these. You can do that, and we went ahead and did that. We pulled the 15th fret out of the fingerboard and drilled 2 small holes into the dovetail joint, and then we have a steaming machine. It's actually a cappuccino machine, which is converted into a steam machine. A lot of luthiers do that to remove the necks from the guitars, because you can control the steam with the arm and control how much steam you get. We have a little jig that just, that you kind of keep tightening. You run the steam in there and keep tightening, and the neck just pops off. And then the dovetail's then recut, and then it's glued in the proper angle, because the angle on this was, if you remember, the neck itself was not glued in at an angle to the top of the guitar. It was glued in at a counter angle. Okay, it was.
And there was looked like almost like a.
There was some sort of material in there. Yeah, there was some sort of like wood putty or something that someone thought that if they just shoved some wood putty in there and it would make it better for some reason. People have strange ideas about how to fix guitars sometimes.
You did nothing with the bridge. The bridge was fine.
We made a new saddle for it.
Made a new saddle. Okay.
The saddle is
right.
new. Yeah,
okay.
The saddle's a brand new.
Now is that a bone or a plastic?
It's bone. We don't use plastic unless otherwise asked of us. I mean, it just it doesn't sound very good, and it's hard to work with, and unless it's just a drop-in piece, we just don't like using plastic. Yeah, I mean, we can, not to be snobby, but when you bring your guitar here, we hope that we're trying to make it sound better than it did when you dropped it off. So that's part of the point of trying to make something that sounds better. Most of the time, we recommend that you do get a refret. When we do a neck reset, it would sound better. This guitar would if it was refretted, but we were also trying to keep the cost down. So that's one way.
I can do that later without too much difficulty.
Absolutely, we can always refret it.
Because it's also not. I mean, the frets on it are. I mean, I actually, before I even read the card, I said, these look like they're a little bit flat on the top.
Yeah.
But it still plays 1,000 times better than it did.
It sounds good too.
Yeah.
I mean, it just didn't sound. It sounded flat before. It doesn't allow for the top to move in the proper way. When it's not braced properly. And yeah, I mean, we don't generally. We do like to do a refret because it allows us to plane the fingerboard when we take the neck on and off. It can be a little traumatic, obviously, to the fingerboard. You take the neck on, steam the neck on and off, and it's nice to be able to pull the frets out and actually straighten the fingerboard to the new neck angle. And put new frets in, and on top of the fact that it's nice to have, big frets to play on. So there you go, and that was the process, and that's what we do a lot of every day.